Hey, family, it's Evelyn here, and I'm back with another edition of Food for the Soul Sundays. I hope you have been enjoying this series. I hope it has been motivational to you. I hope it has been encouraging. I hope it's been uplifting. I hope it's been a little bit challenging, if I'm to be honest, okay? And so today I want to talk about something really simple, but I think a point that needs to be shared, at least in my opinion. And I know you can probably tell by the title of this video, you're like, what, Evelyn? Stop with the food references, okay? But listen, I'm a chef. You're going to get these food references. That's just what it is, okay? Anyway, back to the point. So today I want to talk to you about how, for me, reading my Bible is like drinking water. And I know you're like, I don't even, like, girl, you're going to have to give me an angle. Okay. So I will say this. Years ago, when I was a lot younger and a lot more foolish, I was not a fan of drinking water. I knew that I should. I knew that it was good for me. I knew that my body was mostly comprised of water. I knew that water would help me, keep the weight off. I knew that water would help keep disease out of my body. I knew that water would keep me from getting headaches. I knew it would keep me with buttery, smooth, soft skin. Okay, I knew it would keep my melanin popping. I just knew water was like the business, and I still didn't want to drink it. I didn't want to drink it. I knew that I should. When I tried, I didn't like it. It was a struggle bus for me at the time. And I remember over time, I would be like, listen, I'm going to drink this over here. And then I'm just going to have to force myself to drink some water because I need it. I can't live my life off of juice or pop or, tea or whatever other unhealthy beverage I was drinking at the time. And then it got to the point where the more I drank the water, the more I craved the water. And the more I craved the water, the better tasting it got to me. And then the better tasting it got to me, the less I wanted to drink the other things. Ooh, I'm not going to preach up in here. Y'all already know where this is going. Listen, you can smell what I'm cooking, right? You picking up what I'm putting down, okay? And so I will tell you that now, like, water is all that I drink. Like, I love it, right? I mean, I'll have like green juices or smoothies and occasionally tea, but like in general, if I'm out to dinner, I may have a cocktail here or there. I may have a glass of wine here or there, but I'm not a everyday, let me drink something other than water kind of person. Matter of fact, sometimes it's too sweet. My skin doesn't like it, right? My body doesn't like it, particularly if it's got artificial stuff in it or something like that. And so I'm just like, you know what? Just don't even, I can't even stomach it. Follow me. Message. Okay. And so what I want to say is, I know I've met, I've gone to church with, I have been the person that really struggled to read my Bible. And I just kind of want to share with you some things that kind of made it easier for me, and to the point where not only was I like forced reading it, and then I got to a point where I was drawn to read it. And then I got to a point where it got good to me. And then I got to a point where I just couldn't get enough of it, right? Same thing with water. And before I get to the tips, let me say this. When I go too long without drinking water, let's say I slip off the wagon and I go too long without drinking water, I have to start that process of, let me force myself to drink water. And then I'll, get back in the habit of it, and I'll love it and crave it again. And it doesn't take me long because I now pretty much trained my body, but I do slip off from time to time. And I would say the same thing is with reading my Bible. When I do find myself in seasons or in times where I'm not reading it consistently, I will find myself having to kind of force read it again until it gets, it gets back. And then my spirit is like, yes, girl, give us this word, give us this daily bread. Okay. Give us this goodness. And I had a previous pastor named Tim Ross, and he was like, the Bible is the only book that reads you, girl. And he is right about it. I find myself, the more that I read it, the more that I see that wasn't there. But let me give you a couple of tips. Number one, I didn't start with just being like, I'm about to read the Bible straight through. I'm not gonna lie to you and say this is what I did. I started with devotionals where I was getting like 1 or 2 scriptures a day with some commentary, and I just tried to master reading a devotional. And I didn't jump into like a year-long devotional or a 90-day devotional. I started with like little short books, or when apps started becoming prevalent, I would go and do like a 3-day Bible reading devotional, a 5-day, a 7-day. And then I finally one year decided, hey, I want to read through the Bible in 1 year. I will tell you, I didn't physically sit down and read it. I listened to it on audio because I was like, girl, listen, when we start getting this such and such begat, like I'm not gonna lie, it was a struggle for your girl. Okay. I knew that it was significant and I didn't want to skip over it. Right. I had to listen to it on audio. So that's one, which is I started with little chunks. The same way I started drinking water, I didn't just go cold turkey into drinking water. I started listening to the Bible little by little, reading little by little, scriptures little by little, picking scriptures that really resonated with me little by little, right? Committing a few to memory. I still am not a biblical scholar. I still don't have like tons of scriptures memorized, but I understand the context, right? So also, in addition to that, I found a translation of the Bible that worked for me. For me, it's the New Living Translation. For, like some people don't feel like it's the Bible if it's not King James. I'm like, well, but that's the translation because the original Bible wasn't even written. Anyway, I'm not even gonna get into all that, but whatever version works for you, I would say just, whether you're on like Bible.com or in the Bible app, like go to different translations and look for translations where you feel like you can get the context of the scripture first. And then if you want to go back and read it in the King James or something like that. So when people are reading from that version, you're kind of getting the historical context, right? And so that's what I started doing. If I found a scripture in the New Living Translation that I felt like really resonated with me or was really speaking to where I was in my life, I would read it in a couple of different versions to really kind of get a grasp on what it was trying to say and not just what I was trying to make it say. And the same thing would happen with water. I realized that I like room temperature water. I'm not a huge fan of ice water. I can't consume it in large quantities when it's that cold, right? So I had to find the kind of water that I like. Like I don't like certain brands of water. I don't necessarily like water with lemon, for example. And so just like with drinking water, I had to find what was the best way for me to consume what I knew was good for me. And I think similar to drinking water, similar to working out, when you start to see the positive effects of it, you want it more. And so that's what started happening to me with reading my Bible. The more I read it, the more it got good to me, the more it got good to me, the more I was able to use it and benefit from it. The more I read it, because the more I saw, the promises of God, the thing, just there's just so much, right? And so I will also say that, find a version that you like, find a translation that you like, do it a little bit by the time. And I realized that sitting down and reading the Bible, like actual pages, I can do that in pieces, but I could consume more with audio. So I still have my devotion. Like right now I'm doing like, I think it's like a 6-month devotional, right? I think I'm doing a 6-month devotional, which is an actual book that when I wake up in the morning, I'm reading the scripture and then I'm reading the commentary that goes with it. But then sometimes while I'm getting ready, I'll just, open up an app and I will listen to a couple of chapters of the Bible. And so my goal is to just continuously keep listening through the Bible, right? And then sometimes, you'll grow to the point where you'll be able to go and reference a scripture. Okay, and then that leads me to my final point, which is you want to take it in context. So a lot of times there's, really popular scriptures that have been preached and analyzed and, broken down and all that. And what I like to do is when I find a scripture that really resonates with me, I want to read the whole chapter because I want to get perspective. I don't want to, like I said, make it mean something that it was never meant to be. And then I'm going to pray and ask for clarity and guidance around that. And maybe I'll journal it, right? And so, reading my Bible is like drinking water. I hope that made sense to you. Maybe it's helpful, or if you know somebody who is struggling to read their Bible, maybe you could share this video or those tips with them. If you have any other questions that you want me to address in my faith series, I'd love to. And I'll see you in the next video tomorrow. Peace.